So ladies and gentlemen, our final panel discussion for Invest Jamaica 2022 is this one. Jamaica's financial ecosystem, the gains of the Jamaica market. The Jamaica Stock Exchange has been recognized internationally by Bloomberg as the #1 performing exchange in the world for 2015 and 2018, underscoring the advancement and maturity of Jamaica's financial sector. The legislative framework being implemented by the Jamaica International Financial Services Authority will offer multinationals and high net worth individuals new financial vehicles to establish tax-efficient entities in Jamaica under modern compliant financial legislation. The financial and investment landscape will be reviewed in this session to showcase the current and future benefits of Jamaica's financial ecosystem. Our moderator for this panel discussion is Mariselva Alvarenga, Division Chief of Financial Institutions, IDB. Please make her welcome. Ms. Alvarenga heads a multidisciplinary team that provides innovative solutions to clients through value proposals of financial and non-financial solutions to contribute to sustainable development in the region through the private sector. Our panelists are Weldon Maddan, Chairman, Jamaica International Financial Services. He has over 19 years of banking experience spanning finance, marketing, risk, decision, sciences, and operations. He spent over 15 years as senior executive levels with Citigroup, consumer finance, and retail with assignments in Canada, UK, and Poland. He comes with a lot of experience. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Weldon Maddan. Our other panelist, Maurice Nelson, SVP Corporate and Commercial Banking, Scotia Group, Jamaica Limited. He leads a dedicated team of corporate bankers focused on providing comprehensive financial solutions to meet the diverse needs of mid-market to corporate businesses, government, and international clients. This is, or where is, Maurice Nelson? Oh, he's on this side, okay. We say hello and welcome to Stacy-Ann Tait, Senior Vice President, Investment, NCB Capital Markets Limited. Ms. Tait spearheads the development of the company's business strategy for its proprietary investment portfolios while leading the trading and portfolio management teams. She has over 14 years experience in the financial services industry, which includes experience in portfolio management, risk management, and corporate finance. This is Stacy-Ann Tait. And last but not least, Christopher Williams, co-founder and CEO, Proven Management Limited. Under Mr. Williams' leadership, Proven is an established force to be reckoned with across the business landscape, locally, regionally, and internationally. His visionary outlook made Proven Group Limited the first company to list on the Jamaica Stock Exchange's US market. He is Christopher Williams. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our final panel discussion. Number 7, Jamaica's financial ecosystem, the gains of the Jamaica market.
Good morning. Well, the last panel, but we're here very excited to tell you more about the financial system and the ecosystem itself. So I have to confess, this is my first time in Jamaica, and feeling all this energy and passion has made me think of 2 things. Either I stay and leave everything behind, or I have to come back. So I will stick with the number 2 because obviously family, work, etc. But believe me, I will be here in a couple of weeks or months. So this is the last panel, and after listening of all the real sectors, tourism, agri, global digital solutions, this is the one that really has to do with how we catalyze and how we channel all these investments. So this is a very important one. So Jamaica has been recognized internationally, as everybody has been saying, by Bloomberg. And they have also modernized the legislations. So they also implemented the digital currency during this year. So we have different players here that will talk about what the ecosystem is, what the opportunities are. And with that, I would like to start with Weldon. Welcome. So Weldon, let's start with the big picture and the involvement of GIFSA in promoting the financial sector in Jamaica, which has had a significant impact on the business and the business growth. So tell us more about the plans.
Yes, no, thank you. Before I jump into that, I just want to thank the organizers and the sponsors for this wonderful event and for putting us up right before lunch to ensure that we keep our responses tight. GIFSA was founded in 2011, specifically against a vision of marketing and promoting Jamaica as a preferred jurisdiction for international finance and business. And key to that is ensuring that we have a modern legislative framework, and that is where GIFSA is keenly focused, so that we can attract, the large multinationals and investors, who may have assets all over the globe to come and do business here. So that, announcing that Jamaica is open for business. And so you just have to look at the government of Jamaica's national strategy. And if you can get your hands on that, I think Section 8.2 speaks to increased access to capital. And GIFSA is keenly focused on driving that agenda. And in the medium term, 2021 to 2024, we're really keenly focused on three pieces of legislation. I'll mention one, the Segregated Accounts Company Bill. So this addresses an important mischief where in Jamaica we don't have any local legislation that allows for the segregation of one client's assets from another, particularly when it comes to collective or pooled investment schemes. So what a segregated account company is, or a SAC, is essentially within one entity you can create segregated accounts that hold assets and liabilities that are essentially firewalled from others, including the general account of the SAC itself, right? And that has particular value for insurance companies, specific SPVs, and different securitization and derivative structures. There's the Limited Liability Company Bill. There's also the International Business Center Bill, and that is designed to promote a wide range of international business activities, such as the setting up of holding companies that you could use these holding companies to hold assets that have for intellectual property or real property, etc. Setting up of SPVs to do a wide range of international transactions, and for companies to set up their headquarters here. And so GIFSA is really focused on getting that that legislation out because of how important it is to having a thriving financial sector and an environment that's attractive to investors.
Wow, no, thank you so much for all of that. With all these new structures and all the new ways to open the financial sector and to have more investors, I would like to go to you, Chris. Tell me, how are you taking advantage of this kind of legislations and the new way of organizations to your business?
Well, the significant change that these various legislations have resulted in is varying the forms of intermediation. So, over the last 100 years, the Caribbean has been dominated by intermediation through commercial banking. And as we all know, the development of the economy requires capital that has less restrictions that a commercial banking license operates under. And so these moves have allowed us to create various intermediation structures, various funds, and utilize the capital market more and allow investors, globally and locally, to participate in the development in Jamaica without actually leaving their homes in New York or in Toronto or in London. And so it's been a big move for proven that has been built totally on this structure, because our first capital raise was using SPV model, and we continue with that model today, and it has allowed us to do significant investment in Jamaica. What Weldon and his team and the government has been able to achieve is unlocking the capital that wants to come into Jamaica. Because we don't want just capital that is going to be active. We want passive capital as well, and probably even more so. And so that passive capital has been coming in through these special purpose vehicles, and allowing us to act as intermediators and drive investment. So, that's a big move. So I'm really, really happy that we have had this panel to demonstrate to the public that investment is not just in the form of active entrepreneurial ventures, but it is also in the form of passive investment through these vehicles and others, such as the traditional commercial banks, but certainly through these vehicles.
Definitely. And you mentioned also capital markets and how we're unlocking investments there. So I would like to ask Stacy, how do you see that? How do you leverage that within NCB Capital Markets?
So the infrastructure that has been created by the Jamaica Stock Exchange and its key stakeholders, it's absolutely tremendous. It has contributed to Jamaica's capital market being the most active and vibrant in the English-speaking Caribbean. That's a big achievement. No. We have leveraged that, and Chris has touched a bit on it. It's a big thing for the capital markets, because the exchange, the stock exchange, it acts as a conduit that brings the persons who need funds to the persons who have the risk capital to give. And so we, NCB Capital Markets, it has allowed us to perform our role as market makers. And by that I mean we do the buying and selling of securities. We create a market where there is none. And in order to do that, it significantly benefits investors locally and internationally. And it does so in three critical and important ways. And here are they. First one, as market makers, there's always a buyer there to buy and sell. And then that way, it gives investors the ability to always have current pricing. Two, it helps to take down large transactions. And we read a lot and we talk a lot about market depth, but market depth is when you can have an infrastructure that can absorb a large transaction without disruption to the market, and that's significant. And with that, it's closely tied to liquidity. And lastly, but also very important, local and foreign investors, they have the surety of success for these primary market transactions when they come out. And why is that? Because they have market makers like NCB Capital Markets who are beside them willing to invest as investors in the primary transaction to make it a success. And I think all of us as investors, we have significantly benefit from that infrastructure and platform.
Wow. That's really important. Local and international, that's also important for the local business and for the local investors too. So let's keep up with that. Maurice, so Scotia Group recently made significant investments in its new head office and announced its entry into the general insurance business. So how do you see this growing? What do you see there in the business?
Thank you, Mariselva. Let me just extend a warm welcome to everyone and also congratulate Jampro on this conference and for inviting us to participate. Scotiabank Jamaica is a diversified financial group. We have a commercial bank that focuses on personal and business banking and payments. We have an investment brokerage that is focused on wealth management, capital markets, and trust services. We also have within the group a life insurance company, a building society. We have recently added the general insurance agency, as you mentioned, to offer end-to-end solutions to our clients. We serve close to 1 million customers, personal, business, and institutional clients across all of our business. Each of these segments, we believe, has a unique opportunity for growth, and there is synergies that can be exploited among the segments to ensure that we offer the best solutions to our clients. Our overall strategy is to leverage our local and international expertise to deliver financial solutions and advice to our customers, and also to use digital technology to enhance the services and access. Scotiabank is a subsidiary of Scotiabank Jamaica is a subsidiary of Scotiabank Canada. We have been established in Jamaica for 133 years. And a historical note is that we were established in Kingston before we were established in Toronto, where our current head office sits. We are listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange since 1968, and there's strong local ownership also in the business. So our history is tied to trade, right? We started operations in Jamaica to facilitate trade between Nova Scotia, which is part of our legal name where we were started, and Jamaica, at a time when the bartering system became inefficient. And so we have remained true to those roots. We are today a major facilitator of trade and services through our financing products, through our trade services, and our payment gateway. We have a significant global presence. We're in fact one of the largest banks in the Americas, North America, in South America, and we have had a long presence in the Caribbean. We have also expanded in the Dominican Republic recently. So when you match our international presence with our local footprint, what you will find is a natural partner that will be able to assist you in establishing your operations in Jamaica. We support Jamaica in becoming the Nearshore hub of the Caribbean. We believe the elements are there, and we're really looking forward to playing our part in this role.
Great to hear. Let's talk about digitalization, and let's talk about the new legislation, the implementation of the digital currency. How are you leveraging from this legislation? Do you see any business? How are you doing it?
Scotiabank supports the implementation of the central bank digital currency. We currently have a project team that is exploring how we will integrate that into our suite of digital offerings. But I want to step back a bit just to look at what we have, how it's working, and how the CBDC will fit into the big picture. I believe all Scotiabank and all the financial institutions in Jamaica have made significant investments in establishing digital capabilities. I believe internet banking or online banking is a basic offering in all our institutions. Personal business customers are able to view accounts, conduct transactions, do third-party transfer, move funds across institutions. We have built a local network, the automated clearinghouse. We have the real-time gross settlement system operated by the central bank, and that facilitates a lot of movement locally. Many of us are plugged into the SWIFT Alliance network, which allows us to move payments internationally, incoming and outgoing payments internationally, which facilitate all our industries, and especially persons who are establishing business here in Jamaica. So we have seen significant adoption. In our business, for instance, 95% of the transactions that are generated by businesses are being done on the online platform. So there is significant use by both personal and business customers. If you look at the trends from a business to business point of view, business to government, business to consumer, there is a significant use of digital technology to make payments. I believe where we're falling behind is in the consumer segment, consumer to business, consumer to government. There's still a lot of cash that dominates that segment, and I believe this is where the central bank digital currency will play its role in ensuring that we increase the penetration, especially about the non-bank, and I believe that will help us in improving the economy.
No, definitely. So modernizing the business legislative framework is another initiative for YIPSA, right? So what do you think about the next step? What will you do in terms of, for example, ESG, sustainability? How can we look into that for the financial ecosystem?
Oh, thanks for that question. Well, just to set the context for how I'll respond, I just want to reference Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I mean, I don't know if some of you might be familiar with it, right? Where at the basic level you have, your physiological well-being, then safety, and then you have love and belonging, esteem, and self-actualization, right? ESG investments is obviously very important. It's a strong trend. It's perhaps a little bit elevated on that Maslow's hierarchy. Right, and I think, and we're keenly focused on it, but we have to make sure that we build the muscles sufficiently at the base level so that we can be very effective at those other levels. And I don't say this in a disparaging way. A lot of the folks who are tree huggers, and I'm one, right? They've built their log cabins before, right? We're building our log cabins now, and we will hug the trees, right? So there's some key pieces of legislation that I mentioned before that we want to keep on the legislative agenda to have the muscles to be really effective as we go a little bit further up the hierarchy. But just to show you how important it is and why it's on the forefront of our minds, it's interesting that this conference is being held in Montego Bay. Right? And when I used to dive in Montego Bay, in the oceans here, because I free dive, scuba dive, the reefs used to be beautiful, and they are awful looking now. I'm very sorry to say that. And the number one killer of reefs, and a lot of us don't know that, is the suntan lotion that tourists use when they snorkel over these reefs. People don't know that. Right? And I mentioned that to say here that I would love to see, we're talking about legislative, and we are thinking about this. I would love to see Jamaica do legislatively what other countries have done, which is ban suntan oils that are imported, right, and create an industry for the development of local and natural suntan lotions that will protect our reefs. And so, I'm making that plug because I'm also chairman of NEPA, right? But in relation to ESG, we're very interested, and obviously that is next, but we have to build these core muscles in Maslow's hierarchy, and so we are keenly focused on specific pieces of legislation and keeping that on Jamaica's legislative agenda.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Well, we can help you with that, by the way. Yeah, at IDB and IDB Invest, we do help financial institutions and obviously the governments, and we can help with that and support you. So we can talk now that we were talking about sectors and the suntan lotion. Stacy, what sectors do you see as the ones that we should be investing or that are emerging for investments?
So I would say infrastructure, energy, and logistics. I noticed that you said emerging. None of these are emerging, but it has a meaning. It's emerging because there is still so much left to do. We have only scratched the surface. So infrastructure, let me start there. According to the Inter-American Development Bank, across the Latin America and the Caribbean, we're going to be looking at investments of up to $2 trillion US to be able to get the job done and get it done to get sanitization. We're talking about water, we're talking about energy. That's significant. But what I see in that significant figure is an opportunity. And that opportunity is to get us to where we need to go to. And infrastructure is going to be key. Now, let's step back a little bit. The Prime Minister yesterday in his address to the team on day one, he said that the government cannot do it alone. We need public-private partnerships to be able to get that done. And that's where investors like myself and others on this stage and in the audience are going to be critical to this move. And when we think about it, let's think about something tangible, because when we can see it, we can add more oomph and it's more real to us. So NCB Capital Markets, through its alternative investments platform, Stratus, is actually a co-owner alongside the government for the Morant Bay development that is being done in St. Thomas. And that's significant because we are co-owners alongside the government. Another thing the Prime Minister said yesterday in his speech is the need for monetizing assets that the government already has. That's big. It's big in two critical ways. One, it provides investment opportunities for investors like myself and others in the capital markets to invest alongside. But in addition to that, it also provides the government with the liquidity to unlock liquidity to invest in more infrastructure products to drive growth. And again, when we put tangible examples to that, it helps us to see the vision clearly. NCB Capital Markets Limited is actually the second largest holder or shareholder in the Trans-Jamaican Highway ordinary shares that are actually listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Again, that opportunity came about because of public-private partnership, and really it shows you the importance of the capital markets, because in that one transaction, the capital markets was able to supply roughly US 90 million in that IPO, that initial public offer. And then when you add the complements from the bank and from the wider capital markets, you're talking about financing in excess of US 300 million. So the opportunity is endless. And for energy, the last one, even though I said three. So in the energy sector, there's a lot to be done. We speak about sustainable investment and ESG. It is critical, because when we're investing, we're not investing for today, we're investing for the future, and we want future development and growth. So we need to, or we have a target as Jamaica to be able to consume 50% of our energy sources from renewable sources by 2030. To make that happen, it's gonna take a lot of investments. It's gonna take the type of capital that Chris would have spoken about, which is the flexible capital. It's going to take the long-term capital. It's going to take the kind of passive capital that he spoke about. And that's what the capital markets can bring to that. So there's significant growth there. And again, tangible examples to show the team and the wider audience that it is at work already. NCB Capital Markets has invested in quite a bit of such energy projects, and those include the South Jamaica Power Company, the New Fortress Energy Power Plant, and also to the Wigton Wind Farm. Now, when we when we compile all of those figures, we are looking at an investment from just the capital market segment of over US 300 million for those three products combined. And again, when you now incorporate the other aspects, you find that the financing and the opportunity for investments is pretty huge. And I won't, because I don't think we have time for logistics, but logistics is another key area that we're definitely engaged in.
Wow, amazing. No, we definitely need the investment, así que let's move ahead with that. Christopher, Proven has been an aggressive investor in real estate, right? So, particularly in the residential space, where do you see opportunities for new investments? Can you tell us more about that?
No, I definitely can't tell you any more about it.
Thank you.
Hell no. No, the Caribbean is a beautiful place to invest because the demand for our lifestyle is significant. I would say it is close to a population of, 50 to 60 million people, the demand for a lifestyle. And that demand for a lifestyle comes most obviously in the form of permanent and temporary housing. The temporary housing is obvious, the hotels that pop up, and then what is happening now is that the temporary housing is widening beyond, hotels into, lodging, which would be more suites, apartments, condos, Airbnb accommodations, and then permanent housing from a mixture of international demand and diaspora demand. So it's huge. It's not the domestic population. It is a huge attractive asset because of our lifestyle, and so we continue to be big on real estate for those reasons, and and then flowing out of that is the supporting infrastructure that will be needed in terms of commercial, retail, industrial housing, in the form of warehouses, plazas, hospitals, offices, etc. So, I love the fact that we are a developing nation. It just gives you, so much opportunity for growth, and then you add to that, as I said, the fact that Jamaica's brand, just punches so much more ahead of the size of our domestic population. So as I said, I put our demand at 50 to 60 million. When you add all the components, that's where we can get to, and so I'm anxious to get off the stage so I can get back to work.
Okay, last one question. Last one. So let's go with you, Weldon. Give me a pitch on why we need to invest in Jamaica.
I think that over the last 10 years, we have built strong muscles on some key pillars, right, that would be attractive to any investor. And Stacy has spoken to some examples of these. But the pillars, fiscal sustainability, made tremendous progress there. Financial sustainability, price stability, and external stability. Right. So from from a fiscal stability perspective, right, there's legislation that is in place to prevent Jamaica from prevent the government of Jamaica from crowding out private investments, right? I think by 2026-27, we're supposed to hit a 60% debt to GDP ratio, right? So, there's that fiscal stability that we've achieved. Price stability with the independence of the Bank of Jamaica through the Bank of Jamaica Act, with a mandate on keeping inflation within a healthy range, augurs well for investing in Jamaica. Financial stability, again, with the independence, again tied to the independence of the Bank of Jamaica as sort of the supreme regulator in partnership with the FSC, and the range of actions that they've taken to, and you've seen that financial stability over a sustained period of time, which has promoted some of the investment activities that Stacy-Ann referred to. And external sustainability, our stock of net international reserves are strong to allow us to withstand certain shocks. I think there's some other things that have taken place in that sphere as well. I know you gave me a minute, right? But we've seen evidence of these pillars and how they've benefited us through increased access to capital and deeper liquidity. I think there was an FSC report that says that as of June 2022, we've had about $1.1 billion in securities through exempt distribution, and close to 400 billion Jamaican dollar securities. And we've seen a lot outside of that space. We've seen big deals such as the cross-listing of Massey, the Trans-Jamaican Highway IPO. So the evidence is there, and we've built those strong muscles, and we are a good place to invest.
Great, thank you. Maurice, what's your pitch?
So I'd start by saying that Jamaica is 1.5 to 8 hours away from all the major gateways in the Americas and in Europe. Digitally, we are 1 or 2 clicks away. We have been a stable democracy for over 60 years. We have had general consensus in terms of the economic direction. We have seen strong fiscal management that is underpinned by legislation. We now have an independent central bank that has a mandate to maintain inflation within reasonable levels. Collectively, I believe these create the conditions for stability and predictability in which investors can make a decision to invest. Once you decide to invest, in addition to JOMPRO, you will find a well-regulated, well-capitalized financial sector that can offer all the capabilities that you're likely to have in your markets. You'll find opportunities to raise capital through the stock market or through private equity. You will have the support of financial institutions for debt, capital for debt if you need it. And you'll find institutions like Scotiabank with the global presence that can assist you in navigating all the hurdles and getting established here. So I'm personally looking forward to welcome you once you have made the decision here in Jamaica.
Great. Stacy-Ann.
The capital markets acts as a significant catalyst to growth. And I would say to my fellow investors, locally and internationally, to come invest alongside us in Jamaica for growth. And the capital markets experience that we have had to date has formed the base case for others in the region who are looking to develop their capital markets and to do even greater things. And if we have such a solid foundation and we continue to grow and innovate, it's only going to be better. It's a small island, but as we would normally say, we little, but we tallow. And by saying that, what it means is that we are huge. We have a huge personality. We have huge aspirations. And with those huge aspirations, we can fulfill all investors' needs as we are creative. My panelists here, they would have touched on earlier things such as digital assets, digitizing. The NCB group of companies, we have been at the pilot stage. We have worked with the central bank to be able to test the digital currency. We have our online payment platform Link to be able to facilitate that. The digital asset regime in Jamaica in the financials market, that's up and running, and persons are applying for approval to be able to engage in that sphere of the market. In this market, you need a trusted partner, and NCB Capital Markets, by extension with the NCB Group, NCB Financial Group, we serve as a sound partner to help Jamaicans and other investors to grow.
Thank you. Christopher.
Well, everything that my fellow panelists have said, I fully endorse. We are open and ready to assist and to co-invest alongside you. Any one of us here on the panel will jump at the opportunity to support the investments that you are considering. This Jamaica is in a evolution, and we have been, despite COVID, despite the global shocks that have been taking place, we have been on a fantastic path towards getting our ship in order. And we, as the private sector support, have been doing the same. So call us, give us an opportunity to support you and to assist you and to back you. So check me. Forget them, check me. No.
Thank you so much to the panelists. Just some closing thoughts. First, partnerships. The financial system and the financial ecosystem from all the partners are here, and they can partner with you to catalyze investments and to be the channel of these investments. Second, stability. You were mentioning stability. We've seen financial, fiscal, and stability in the country. So this is another important fact that we should take into consideration. Third, I would like what you said, Stacy-Ann. Personality, the huge personality of Jamaica. So let's bring the investment here. Thank you so much, and thank you to the panelists.
Thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the final panel discussion.